In Western society, the reason we're so unhappy is that we define success to be synonymous with constant movement towards attainment. Whether that be materialistic things such as a car or a house, or to less tangible things such as a new job, promotion, a new relationship, or even simply just happiness, we're constantly chasing and moving around to attain and take more. The issue with living like this is that there is never enough you can attain that will make you happy. This desire to get more can never be and never will be satisfied. You will always look for more when you have it. Because of this, success is not about attainment. Success is about gratitude. So I recently just came back from my trip to Nepal about a month ago, and in case you're wondering, that is where my family's from. And I might be a little bit biased when I say this, but I honestly think it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. If you've never seen pictures of it before, just look up Nepal, like beautiful, or like Nepal mountains or scenery. You'll definitely see what I'm talking about. First started traveling when I was younger. Going to overseas back home to Nepal was actually a bit of a struggle for me. This was because of what I just said, adjusting to a completely new culture, new food, new environment, new people, new language, everything was very difficult when I was a kid. This trip was different because I was actually really excited to go because the last time I visited was around 4 years ago. And I was actually looking forward to having to adjust to a completely new environment, new climate, new culture, everything, because I honestly felt like I was getting a bit soft. I went on this trip knowing that I would have to adjust as well as adjust fast because our trip was only 3 weeks. Believe me, I had to adjust. Everything was completely different, just as how I expected it to be. What are these things? Things like no AC, and because of no AC, having to open up the windows to let fresh air in. Every window in the house is basically left open to let fresh air in. However, with this, insects, mosquitoes, and speaking of mosquitoes, I got obliterated by mosquitoes this trip. Mosquitoes all over my arms, my legs, even my neck sometimes. It was just brutal. Other things just like as in tighter living spaces, no washer, no drying machine. We literally have a person in our house who would put them into a bucket, wash our clothes like in there with like a bucket of soap, and then leave our clothes out to dry. And leave our clothes out to dry on the line on the top of our terrace or roof, or sometimes just like literally outside on the line and let the sun dry them out that way. But no matter how different everything was or how much I had to adjust, I actually secretly enjoyed this like little bit of struggle. The reason for this was because I had to realize that there are people who live like this on a daily basis. People that live like this on a daily basis are just so grateful for what they do have. The fact that they even have a roof over their head, have clean, fresh drinking water, as well as like food on the table. These are the things that actually make them happy. And these are just all things that we dismiss in our daily lives, just like the bare necessities that a large majority of the world actually doesn't even have. And we sit here complaining about these things when like basic necessities most people don't even have. But in Nepal, which they do have, they're actually just so grateful to even have it. The reason why that there's just so much misery and discontentment in the modern world, especially Western society, is that we dismiss these things and we only think about success to be towards attainment and getting the new thing and being up to date and following new trends and having the latest of the latest. And it's none of that. It's just plain gratitude. Gratitude in simple terms is just to remove your ego, also known as just any emotional attachment you have to your physical environment, as well as your daily actions and the results of those actions. That's it. It's just to completely remove your ego and the self from basically everything around you. Doing well or completely struggling, the realization to just have a chance to be a part of life is what gratitude really is. Once you start practicing gratitude, your internal thoughts just become so much more positive, just become so much more likable. They become so much more peaceful and thoughtful. You can honestly feel your like levels of consciousness rise when you start to think like this. With gratitude, it completely shifts the mind's tendency to exist into a scarcity state of mind and instead reframes it and shifts it into an abundant state of mind. A scarcity state of mind causes you to always look at what's missing. What is missing here that I can attain more to fill in this void? Whereas an abundant state of mind is that I already have enough, but more importantly, I am more than enough already as is. By living with a scarcity state of mind, you will always be stressed because you will always be looking for what's missing. And once you attain that thing, you will again be looking at the things that you still don't have. Which is why I say that no matter how much you attain and no matter how much you get, you will never be satisfied, because in a scarcity state of mind, it can never actually be fulfilled. But with an abundant state of mind, you already are enough, and everything that comes in extra is just a blessing at that point. So gratitude is the only way to actually cure yourself from this plague. I mentioned the Bhagavad Gita in my last video, so if you didn't watch that, I actually explain what this book is and how transformative it really is. But I won't go into depth in this video, and I'll just explain a few quotes from this book, kind of explaining how you can be a little bit more grateful and how to actually practice gratitude. And before I explain this quote, the first step that it says in order to be a little bit more gratitude is to remove our emotional attachment from our actions. That's the very first thing you must do. So to give you the direct quote, I'll read it directly. It says, "You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty." So this quote explains a major problem in Western society, which is that when we put in any marginal effort into anything, whether that be studying, our job in our 9-to-5 work, or our job in our 9-to-5 daily lives, or going to the gym, whatever it is that we do, we expect an immediate result, or we expect results to come from those actions. We become obsessed with getting the good grades rather than just the act of learning and the fun of learning. We expect a high salary and a promotion for doing marginal work, when it's more about we should be doing work that we just enjoy and love to do in the first place. With the gym, we expect to get shredded and a six-pack within 2 weeks of going to the gym, and we quit when we don't see instantaneous results. When instead you should be going to the gym for the love of just working out and feeling healthy and feeling good after going to the gym. And a second part of this quote, which I really like this quote for, is that when people think about gratitude, or when people are told to be more grateful, they think this means to be less ambitious, when that's not what this quote is saying at all. Actually, it says that never be attached to not doing your duty as well. So whatever the things that you must be doing, whether that's studying, doing your job, whatever it is, you need to be committed to actually doing the work as well. That doesn't gratefulness and gratitude doesn't mean just sitting around and just like smiling and thanking the world. That's not what it is only. It's also about doing what you must be doing, but doing them for the acts of doing them themselves, and not just looking for the results that come with it. You must be doing these acts of duty for the sake of actually doing them, and not be so overly focused on the results that come with it. And in terms of procrastination, this is where gratitude can help with as well, because procrastination in its deepest level is simply just masking fear with other excuses such as laziness or just uninterest. And with procrastination, what you're afraid of is that you're afraid to fail, whether that's trying out a new thing, recording a video and publishing it. You're afraid of what might come with it, the reactions people might give. People might make fun of you. You might get a low amount of views, you might struggle, you might everything, and you're just scared of all the failures that might come with it. But with gratitude, just be happy to be actually making a video to begin with is what it's all about. It's not about getting a million views or getting all of the things that come with it. It's about simply just doing the act. And the second way that the Gita says that we can become more grateful, and I think this is even bigger than the first, but it's to just become more selfless in service, meaning to give more to people and to remove yourself from it. From my understanding, from when I just look around people these days, everything is about me, myself. How can I get more from me? How can I do this for me? When if we just started to all look out for each other a little bit more, we would collectively all rise together at a faster rate, rather than each of us trying to take and leaving like none for anyone else, and like just trying to get for all of and just trying to succeed for our own sake. If we actually just started to give more for one another, we could all by helping each other, help each other rise. But if you're struggling mentally, really look at the last time that you actually gave to someone selflessly to try to make their day better. There's a direct correlation that research shows. There's an abundance of research that shows that by giving more to people, and helping others, like giving selfless service, has such a direct correlation with like actual happiness and just an overall level of gratitude. Research shows that the rush of natural dopamine and oxytocin that you get into your brain is at the same level, if not higher, than sex. And we all know how powerful sex really is, but and while it is natural, like it's not something that like will make you fulfilled. Like it enhances your life, but like giving to others and enhancing someone else's life and bringing them up is what will actually get you to those higher levels of consciousness. If you're really struggling mentally right now, as I stated before, to recap, really look around, take a deep breath, and thank the universe for what you do have. If you have food, water, and shelter, you have everything that you need. There's nothing more. You have everything that you do need. If whatever those extra wants and desires that you have, instead of focusing on those wants and desires, become obsessed with the acts of doing things that will ultimately get you those things. Shift your mind and focus from the results, and focus your daily acts into just doing. And if you were to just add a little bit more selflessness in your day-to-day life and trying to make someone else's day better, and trying to brighten someone else's day without like your ego so attached, if you were to do all of these things, you will attain more than you could ever imagine. As always, build the foundations and the rest will follow. Peace.